Hey, I'm Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to build a professional looking WordPress website right from scratch. No confusing tech, no coding, just simple hands-on process you can follow step by step. We'll be using the built-in WordPress block editor, which means you'll be building your site piece by piece, like stacking blocks together. I'll also make recommendations along the way, but the great thing about WordPress is that if you go with a slightly different setup, the things I show you here will be transferable. By the end of this video, you'll have a website up and running, and you won't need any previous knowledge or experience to get there. Best of all, we're only using free tools, so the only cost right now would be your hosting. But if you've already got that covered, you can skip ahead to the next section and pick it up from there. Okay, first up, let's get your website live. Now, if you've never done this before, it might seem complicated, but trust me, it's actually really simple. Step one is choosing a hosting provider. Think of hosting like renting a space on the internet where your website lives. For beginners, my go-to recommendations are Hostinger and Bluehost. They're affordable, reliable, and extremely user-friendly. A link for them and any other products I mention in this video will be in the description below. Here's exactly what you need to do step by step. Okay, so first what you want to do is head over to your chosen hosting provider's website. In this case, I've come to the Hostinger website right here. You can follow the link in the description for that. And as you can see, once you follow the link that's in the description, you get up to 78% off hosting for WordPress with Hostinger. As I said, we do recommend Bluehost or Hostinger, but you can use any hosting provider that you want. But from here, all we need to do is click on Claim Deal. That's going to bring you down to the pricing section, which is where you can compare the pricing plans for your hosting. Now, as a beginner, I'd always recommend going with the lowest pricing plan first, and you can always upgrade and build from there. So that would be the premium plan right here. And for this plan, you can see you get up to 25 websites. You get managed WordPress hosting, which means that Hostinger takes care of all the heavy lifting. It does the WordPress install for you. It makes sure that everything's updated, and it also does backups and things like that as well. You also, in this plan, get a free domain as well, and free automatic website migration, along with a couple of mailboxes per website, unlimited free SSL, and more. So once you've checked out each of the plans and you've compared them, choose the one that suits you. I'm going to click choose plan on the premium plan. That's going to bring you through to your cart, and then you can choose the period that you want the plan to be for. So it's currently set to 48 months, which is going to give you the maximum discount for your website. As you can see, there is a massive saving right here, but you can click the drop down and choose 12 or 24 months if you want as well. And obviously the pricing is going to change, but you're still getting a fantastic discount with the WP beginner code. Once you're happy with the plan that you've selected, just click continue and then go through, create an account and pay for your plan. Now, part of the process of signing up for a new hosting plan is that you're going to be offered to create a domain and a website as part of that. So when you choose a domain name, make sure it's short, memorable, and relates directly to your business or brand. And then Hostinger will link everything up and install WordPress on a website for you. Once you've done that, you'll then come to the Hostinger dashboard. And if you click on the website you've just created, you'll be then brought to that website's dashboard, and it looks very much like this here. And this is the behind the scenes engine for your hosting of your website. So as a beginner, you don't need to understand much here. The reason I brought you here is because it does have a really cool way of being able to log into your site without having to use the credentials that your hosting provider sends you in an email. And a lot of hosting providers do this, so Bluehost offers it as well, but Hostinger, I'm just going to show you how Hostinger does it. So if you come into the dashboard, you'll see up here there is a WordPress admin button right here. If you click on that WordPress admin button, it's going to take you right through to your site. You don't have to sign in using your username or password. It will take you to the dashboard for your WordPress site, and they'll be ready for you. Start building and editing your site from there. So I'll just click on that and show you exactly how this works. And in a couple of seconds, you're logged in to the back end of your WordPress website, also known as the WordPress dashboard. And this is where you start editing your whole site. Now, we can look at what our site currently looks like by clicking on the Visit Site button up here. And now that's brought you to what we call the front end of your website, or the visitor facing side of your website. So this is where you can view what your website looks like. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but we are going to change that. To head back to your WordPress dashboard, you just go over to the same button, click it again, and that's going to take you back to your dashboard. Now quickly, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what this dashboard entails. So we've got an admin bar up here, which gives you a bunch of different options based on what you have installed on your site and how it's set up. At the moment, we've got the basic setup, so we can see the basic options. Over here on the right is where you can log out and edit your user. And then here we have the navigation menu for the WordPress dashboard. This is where you can navigate to all the different parts of your WordPress dashboard easily. And when you click on one of these, you'll then change the content area for your WordPress dashboard. So at the moment, we're on the main dashboard page, which gives you a lot of different information based on what you've got installed on your site. All right, now that your website is live, let's make it look amazing. Your WordPress theme determines the overall look and style of your site, and choosing the right one makes a huge difference. My top recommendations for beginners are themes like Astra, GeneratePress, and Sydney. They're fast, easy to use, and free, which is exactly what you want if you're just getting started. Right now, we're going to install a theme and change the look of our site. So to do that, all we need to do is come over to the appearance setting over here in the menu, hover over that, and then click on themes. And that's brought us to the theme page. And we can see that we have a theme here that's highlighted, and that means that it's active on the site. And the current theme that's active by default on the site is the WordPress 2025 theme. Now, to add a new theme, all we need to do is either click here, add theme, or click the add theme button up here. That's going to bring us to the WordPress theme repository. Now, you can definitely see up here, there are a lot of themes available, and they have been split out to popular, latest, block themes, etc. in this tab bar right here. We're going to stick with the popular ones, and I'm going to suggest you go with one of the most popular and customizable themes to set up your site, and that is the Astra theme. And you should be able to see it here. If you can't see it, you just type it in the search bar up here and it will show up. Now, to install a theme on your site is really easy. Just hover over the theme and then click on the install button. If you want to see what that theme looks like beforehand, you can click on the preview button. That's going to open that up, and then you can scroll through this theme and see how it works and how it's set up. And then from there, you can click install as well. I'll just go back and I'll do it in the method that I mentioned. So hover over it and then click install. And once that's installed, the install button turns to activate button. You just click that activate button and that's going to activate that theme on your site. And we have got a couple of things that have popped up as we've installed the Astra theme. I'm just going to close them now so that we can see that this was the theme that was activated, is no longer activated. We've now got the Astra theme active on the site. And if we go back to the front end of the site, so click on the visit site button up here, you now see that the look has changed, although it doesn't look great at the moment. We will fix that in a minute. So I'm just going to head back to the dashboard. Now, I'm not just going to stop there with the theme, because there is another step here that makes everything so much easier, and that is using a template for your site. And no, it's not cheating. Designers actually use templates all the time to help get the basic structure of a site together quickly, and then tweak it to fit the actual business or brand they're designing for. Now let's take a look at some templates. Okay, so now we're going to select a template for our website to kickstart the design process and creating and building the website easily without having to do everything from scratch. Now, lots of different themes come with their own way of installing templates. And if you install the Astra theme, then it will recommend going with starter templates, which is a plugin that helps you install templates really easily. It's got a massive template library. Now we're going to get to plugins a little bit later in this video. So to do this, it's super easy. All you need to do is come over to Astra here and click on it in the menu. That's going to open up Astra screen right here, and there are a lot of options and settings that you can choose from. It's fully customizable. We're going to ignore that for now, and we're just going to come up to Starter Templates right here and click on that. And then to get started, all we need to do is click on the Start Building Now button. That's going to install Starter Templates. As you can see, it's activated and it's opened up Starter Templates automatically. We don't have to click on anything. Now, once we're in Starter Templates, we do get two options. We can either build our website with an AI website builder, or we can use classic Starter Templates, which is what we're going to do in this video. But if you want to skip this process, you can use the AI website builder and see how that goes. But if you want a little bit more control and you want to be able to see the designs and everything like that, I definitely suggest going with classic Starter Templates. So I'm just going to click on the Build with Templates button to do that. The next step in this process is to select our page builder. Now, page builders make it super easy to visually build everything on your site. So everything becomes drag and drop, and you just drop blocks in and you can see everything and you can see what you're working with. And for this video, I'd totally recommend going with the built-in WordPress block editor first. It's super simple to use. So we're going to go with that one. And once we've done that, we now see all the templates that are available with Starter Templates. Now you can scroll through them. There are a lot of them, but you can filter them by either searching for a specific theme or topic that your website covers within the search bar up here. You can use all these tabs as well to filter the templates. So if you've got a specific business or local business or personal care or professional service, you can take a look at those. Now I'm going to go with a professional service, so I'm going to hover over that and then come down to web design down here. And that's filtered all the templates to that specific search term. So we can see these all relate to web design. And I just want to highlight here as well that some of the templates in Starter Templates are paid for or premium templates, and they're tagged with the little yellow premium tag right there. Now you can scroll through these and choose one that's going to fit with the style that you want. They don't have to be exactly for your business or for your topic. I totally recommend going and checking out other different businesses and styles and things like that, because you might find something that fits you. Now, I really like this one right here. So if you find one that you like, you can click on it and that's going to open up a live preview for you to view. So you can see the live preview here, and there's a few settings here. We'll come to that in a minute. But you can scroll through and you can check out the design and the different elements on the page and see if that's what you want and the feel that you want for your website. And I kind of like this design, so we can go with this one for this example. Okay, so if you're happy with that design, you can continue with that. If you want to go back, you can go back by clicking on the cross here and then searching for the one that you like. Now I'm going to go with this design, and you do get a few options to customize this design before it installs on your site. And you can totally use this if you want. I'm going to show you how to do this from your WordPress dashboard, and that's covered a little bit later in the video. So for now, I'm just going to click on continue to install that site. So the next step in this process is to select the features that we want for the website. And you don't have to select all these. Some of these are optional. So the grayed out ones here are ones that are needed for the functionality of the template that you're installing. The ones that are with blue ticks are ones that will be added that are nice to have, and you can add these later on. So I'm going to uncheck this one, and then if you can look at the gray box down here, it will tell you the plugins that it's going to install. Like I said, we're going to cover plugins a bit later, and we'll change a couple of these around as well. So once you've selected or deselected the features, just click the continue button right there. Okay, on this step, you can tell Starter Templates a little bit about yourself if you want, but you just have to click this box right here and then check submit and build my website. And now Starter Templates is installing that template and all the elements and all the content that goes with it, so that we can start with something to tweak and build on. Okay, and there we can see it took just 13 seconds to build the website. So to view the website, just click the view your website button, or you can go back to the dashboard if you want to do that. I'm going to view the website, so just click on that. And there we go. This is the template that we saw in Starter Templates, and it's been installed on our WordPress site. So that is ready to go. Now, let's say that you don't particularly like the template that you chose for your site. Well, how do you change it? Well, let's go back to the WordPress dashboard and come back down to Astra and then click on Starter Templates. You can then go back into the classic Starter Templates library, select the block editor, and let's say you really like this template and you want to use it on the site. Well, you can click on it and then click Continue. Select your features, so I'll just unselect this, then click Continue. Read the advanced options right here. So it says it looks like you've already created a website with Starter Templates. So if you want to keep the existing data, you click that. But if you want to completely overwrite the template that you have installed, you can just leave that box unchecked, click Submit and Build My Website, and Starter Templates will start completely from scratch, remove everything, remove the other template, and give you your new one with all the new content. Now that your site has a great theme, it's time to give it some personality. And customizing for your brand, you've got to think colors, fonts, and logos. This is what makes your website uniquely yours. And here's the good news, it's super simple to do. Okay, so we're back in the WordPress dashboard and we're going to customize the site and the template that we've just installed. First thing I'm going to do is just close this right here to get rid of that notification. And then to open up the WordPress customizer, all you need to do is come down to Appearance here, hover over that, and then click on Customize. And this is the WordPress customizer. And as you can see, we've got a live view of your site right here. So you can see everything on your site and how it looks. And when you start making changes like the global settings in the customizer, you'll be able to see those changes take effect in this live preview right here. Over here on the left, you've got the customizer options or menu options over here. So we've got things like global header, footer, site identity, things like that. Now, if you're completely beginner to this, this might seem a bit complicated, but it definitely isn't. I'm going to take you through a few different settings just so that you can get this set up how you want it to. First, I'm hovering over site identity here. I'm just going to click on that. And this is where you can add your little site icon. So you just click on this button here, and that's going to open up your media library. And what is your media library? Well, it's basically where you can access all your images, your vector files, your logos, and things like that, the things that you've uploaded to your site. And how do you get these things on your site? Because obviously right now you can see that we've got all the content that's been brought in by the template. Well, there is a really super easy way to do that. You just click on the Upload Files tab right here, and then you can click this Select Files button and select files from your computer, or you can do what I'm going to do right now, and I'm just going to drag and drop an icon onto here, and that'll upload it to my media library automatically. And then once you've got it selected, you can then come down here to the select button, click on that. It's then going to ask you whether you want to crop that image at all. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to click skip cropping. And now we can see that our site icon is available and being used on our site. And I can actually see it in the tab. Can't see this in the window right now, but I can see it on my tab right here. So that's how to change the site icon on your site. And from here, we'll go back. And the next thing we're going to take care of is our header settings. So the header is this area at the top of your site. So you've got the content area of your website here, and you've got the header always at the top. And we can edit this header by clicking on the header option in the menu on the left here. And now we can see we get a visual representation of what is up here in the header. We can also hover over things and click the little edit icon to edit each of these elements, but we can see them down here. And we have the above header section, which you can add in things like text boxes for your business phone number or things like that, or an email address. Then you've got the actual header section, which is what you can see right here. And usually with headers, you keep your logo and things like that to the left, and then your menu to the right. Within this header, you can see we've got a logo section right there. We've got a primary menu right here, and we've got a button as well here. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but you can change the layout of this. It's all drag and drop. So basically we can move our site title and logo up here if we want to, above the header section. And then we could move our primary menu into the middle. And then we might move our button up or get rid of the button altogether. And as you can see, that's changed things around quite a bit. But I'm going to put everything back how it was. So we're going to drag and drop them all back to where they were. And let's start on the site title and logo. So we just click on that. It's going to open up the settings for that. And this is where you can change the logo up here. So if you want to change the logo, you just change it just like we did with the site icon. You just click on the button, change logo. That brings you back to the media library, and then you can change that logo to whatever you want. So if you do already have a logo, you can choose that from your media library as well. I'm just going to close this. I'm going to leave the logo up there as it is. And then below that, you've got settings for the logo. So you can make the logo bigger. You can also add in things like your site title. We'll change that in a different setting a bit later. And also, if you click on the design tab here, you can change the color and things like that around the logo as well. We won't get too much into the details of that, but that's how to change the logo on the site. Now we can click on the primary menu here as well. And this is where you can easily access and change things around for your menu. We're going to cover adding a menu and adding more things to the menu a bit later, but this is where you can do that as well. And we can change things for the design of the menu. So you can have things like a menu hover style if you want. So if we click on that, we might be able to see it. We can't see it in this preview, but you'll be able to see it on the live site. And then if we come across to the button right here, this button is called a call to action button. And you might see these dotted around the site, and definitely on this site here, there's one here, and there's probably more down here as well. And basically a call to action button is basically the action the site owner wants the visitor to take. So with this example of this website and this template, it's built around a freelance copywriter. They're a service-based business, and the main action they want someone to take on their site is to get in contact with them, to maybe have a quick call to discuss that person's needs, and then they can take that further on to offering services and things like that. But the first action they want someone to take that's visiting this site is they want to talk to them, maybe maybe on the phone, maybe via email. So you then add these call to action buttons around the site, and you make them very noticeable, which draws people's eyes and then encourages them to click on them. And call to actions can be lots of different things. They don't have to be let's talk. They could be contact us. They could be a purchase button or something like that. To edit that, just click on the button, and then that's opened up the button settings here on the left, and we can change the text to something else. So we can change it to contact us or contact me. Then you can add your link in here. So you'd add a link to your contact page or something like that. So it might be your website /contact. And then once someone clicks on that, that would link to the contact page. And if you want to see more things that you can add to the header section, you click on the add button there, and then it opens up a pop-up which shows you all the different types of widgets that you can add to a header. So some of these are premium, so they'll be locked, but other ones that don't have a padlock, they can be used on a site. Okay, so we'll go back to the main part of the menu, and we'll cover the footer section. Now this template doesn't actually come with a footer, but it's set up exactly like the header section. So you can add elements to the bottom of the page here, and that will carry across the whole site. So we could click this button here, and then we could add a social widget to this side of the footer, and then maybe we could add another footer menu here as well, and then we can click on footer menu, and we can go in and click configure menu from here. That'll bring up the locations for the menus, and then we can click the drop down and select the menu there. We can then go back to our footer section and click on the social side of things, and then configure all these social icons by clicking on them. So we've got a Facebook one, and then you just put in your Facebook URL there, and you do that for all the other social icons as well. So that's how you can add some things to your footer menu as well. And then one of the main use cases for using the customizer is global settings. And global settings are settings that you can change once, and everything will change across the site. That's what they're called, global settings. So if I click on global settings now, I can see that I've got typography, colors, container, and buttons. Let's just go up to typography. So all the fonts on your site scroll to the top here, we can see that there are preset pairings, and then there's a base font pairing right here as well. So if you just click on the presets, you'll be able to scroll through them and see the different pairings that come as part of the Astra setup. So say I go with this pairing right here, I quite like that one. Then we've got our base fonts underneath that. So that's the body font, which is this font right here, and the headings font is this font right here. And you'll see it for this is a heading and this is a heading as well. So this is going to be a H1 heading, and the ones below are probably a H2, H3 headings there as well. But what you can do from here is you can change the heading font right here, and all the other heading sizes, because they're switched to inherit, will change as well to whatever font that is. So let's say I want to change this font. So I click on that, and then I'll change it to that. And then we'll see that all the headings have changed to that as well. So I'll click on this to change it back. And if you want to change the size of any of the different heading size fonts, you can do that by going to that size under heading font, clicking on the drop down, and then changing the size. So I can move that up to that. And then you can do that for all your fonts. You can do lots of other things as well, but that's just the basics covered right there. Okay, and if we go back to our global settings, we can see that colors is next. And with colors, you get a few different options. Now we can see that this global palette section right here has 4 different styles. And we've got the default style because that's the style that came with the template. Now, if we switch over to this style right here, we can see that all the colors change on the page straight away across the site. So that's pretty cool. You've got some preset colors that you can go through here and change them and look at how that changes the look of your site. I'm going to go back to the default setting for this template. And then below that, you can see that you've got all the different colors laid out and how they are brought in to the design. So you can change things like accent, links, link hover color, things like that as well. So if you wanted to change any of these colors, you just click on it, you pick the color that you want, and then click away, and that's changed across the site. Now, if you want to revert that change or you want to go back to the original, you can just click the little button right here, and that'll change it back to the original color. So that's it. You can do that for all the different colors on the site. You can make your own palette, and that'll change every single color across the site and keep everything consistent and nice. Then I'm going to come back, and you can do the same for buttons as well. I won't get into it, but you can change and customize the buttons you want to look as well. Once you're happy with how you've customized the site, you can then click on Publish, and that will save the changes that you've made inside the customizer. All right, now the fun really begins. Building out your actual website pages. And as we're using a template, we already have pages on the site. So how do we edit those? Okay, so to edit pages that the template has brought in, you can come over here to Pages in the menu on the left and just click on that. You'll now see all the pages on your site in a list right here. And you can see we've got a home, we've got a testimonials, work, and contact page right here. We've also got a privacy policy that's in draft. And as you can see, as I'm hovering over each one of these pages, I'm getting some additional options to click on. So if I hover over the home page right here, you can see I get edit, quick edit, trash, or view. So if you want to delete a page, you can send that to trash. If you want to view a page, click on that, and that'll show you the preview of the page. Now, if you want to open up the block editor, which is what we're going to be editing the pages with, we're going to click on the edit option right there. And that's now brought you into the block editor for that page. And the reason it's called the block editor is if I'm hovering over different sections of this page, you can see that they are surrounded or highlighted by a little block around them. And these pages are all built in block form. So the background here is a block, this text here is a block, this text here, and this button, and these social icons as well, all blocks. So this is the visual part, this is the content of your page, and you can see, you can drag and drop things into this area. if I click on this one right here, you'll see over here on the right, you get the options for that block. So the settings for that block, and they're broken up into different ways, and different blocks have different settings. Now, if you want to add more blocks to a page, you can do that by clicking on the block inserter right here. And that will show you on the left here, all the different blocks that you can use on your site. And there are quite a lot of them. And depending on how your site is set up, you might see more or less than I've got here. You'll definitely see some different ones if you've got a different setup to me, because we've got things like the Spectra plugin, which has been pulled in with the template, and that comes with a whole load of blocks itself to use on the site. And to add a block to a page is very, very simple. You can either click on the block, or what I like to do is drag it, and then you'll start seeing lines to where you can drop it on the page. So let's say I wanted to stick an image below this section right here. I could stick that right there. And then we've got a block with some options ready for you to insert an image into this space. So then I would simply go whether I want to upload from my computer, or if I wanted to go to the media library, which I know has already got content in, so I could click on that. Then I could then select an image. I'll just select this one here and then click on select, and that will insert that image right there. Now, that's not the best place for this image, but I'm just showing you how you can drag and drop a block into place. So to delete a block, you just click on the three dots right here. You scroll down to the bottom of those options, and you just click on delete, and that's remove the block completely. There are also undo and redo buttons up here if you want to use them as well. And you can close the block inserter to give yourself some more space to be able to see the design that you're working on. Now, I'm going to guess that you picked a template that you like the look of, and it is something that you feel like would fit with your business and brand. Most of the pages that get brought in with a template, you're probably going to keep, but you just want to tweak. You want to change the text, you want to change the images, you want to change what the buttons say, you might want to delete a few things and add a few things. That's completely fine. But how do we do all that? Well, like I said, all it is simply with text, you can click on it and you can actually edit the text right here on screen. So I could take away copywriter and add something in, but I'll undo that and leave it as it is. You can do that for that text as well. And you can see as I'm clicking, it tells you what the block is. That's a heading. That's part of the heading as well. There's a subheading. This is a button. That's a button. Those are social icons. And this image right here, if I click on this container, so there's a block right here, which is container. And if I just open up the overview, you'll be able to see how this is broken up. So we currently have the container selected. If I click the little drop down here, we can see that we've got our heading block right there, our buttons right here, which can be, if you click the drop down, you'll be able to see both buttons. And then we've got our social share section as well, all inside one container. And that just helps you keep everything organized, but also allow you to do things like, as you've got container, you can have a background image. So if I click on style here, you'll now see the image is right there, and you can change that image, or you can change the position of it and things like that, so that you can make this site how you want. You can get rid of that image completely if you want as well. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'm just going to close this overview right here. And we can scroll down the page, and we can see that this other section right here, if I click here, that's another container with some other sections in. And containers can be a great way of dividing up the layout. So right here as well, we've got this. This is another container inside a container that is split into two sections. So you've got heading and text on this side. And if you want this kind of column layout like you get with some of these, then you can easily do that. If I scroll down, and let's say I wanted to add a container just below this section right here, add something new, I could click add block and add a container, or I could add columns. So columns, if you just type it into the search bar, you'll be able to find it. So I drag and drop the column section in here, and then you can see that you can divide it up into a specific layout. So we can have 100% of the width. We can have 50-50, so we can have 2 boxes right here. We can have 33-66 and so on. So if we wanted 50-50 and we wanted to split out and have 2 different things, so let's say we wanted to add an image block, so you could click on the add block and then type in the search bar here image, and that'll bring up all the image blocks, and then I'll select that block there, go to the media library, drop in this image of this person right here, and then on this side click on here, click on add block, and then you could add things like a heading. So then we can click into the heading section and edit that to whatever we want it to be. So I'm just going to type something in here. So book a 1 hour free call. Then below there, just let's say I want to add some text right here as well. So then I'm going to click on the block inserter. I'm going to type in paragraph. And then I'm going to select the paragraph block right here, and I'm just going to drag it in below that there. Then we can add any text we want right here. So I'm just going to copy some of this text right here, just as an example, and paste it in there. Now we've got a image, a heading, a paragraph block, and what you might want to add here into this is a call to action button as well. So we can do that. So we can come back over to the block inserter. We can type in button. We can grab buttons right here and drop that below text as well. So you can add text to this button. So I'll type the text book now, and then we can close down the block inserter to be able to look at this section. I'll scroll down a little bit more. And that looks okay. It needs a bit more spacing. So what we can do is we can change the size of this image by clicking on the image and then coming over to the general settings here. You can come down to the image dimensions. And if we just change the height, the width is going to change as well. And we can do that right here. So we can double click, we can change it to 400. We want to change it to that size. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. Okay, so there we've got a quick book a call section, and I showed you how to edit and add blocks to a page on your site. Now let's scroll up, and once you're happy with the editing that you've done on the page and you want to save it, just click on the save button up here in the top right. Okay, so you've saved that page, but what if you were working on the page and you wanted to see what it looked like before you hit save because you didn't know whether that change was going to look good or not? Well, there's a really good way that we can do this. And if you come up here to the little laptop icon right there, you can click on view, and that's going to show you a preview of that page. And you can either see a preview in desktop, tablet, or mobile size view. So we're going to keep it selected on desktop, and then we're going to click on preview in a new tab. That's now going to show you the page that you're currently working on, and you'll be able to see the changes that you've made to the actual page. Okay, so that's editing pages, but we can also add new ones too by doing this. Okay, so we can add pages really easily to the site as well. So if we go back to the pages section in the WordPress dashboard, you can see there's an add page button up here. Just click on that. That's going to open up the block editor with complete blank slate for you to start designing a page from. So the first thing you need to do is add in a title. So this could be a contact page. I think we've already got one on the site, but we'll just use it as an example. And then you click away. That's your title for your page already set. And then you can start adding blocks into this page really, really quickly. So you can click the block inserter here, or you can click the block inserter there. You can then search for whatever block you want. So we've got container right here. Let's add that. Then the container will let us select a layout for this container. So for this one, we might want a split layout, so 50-50. And then we'll add something like contact form and some details right here. And then once you're happy with the page and how you've set it up, you just click on publish, then publish again. And that page is now available for visitors to use. And then you can head back to pages section in your dashboard. Now that you've built some pages, it's time to make your site easy to explore. That means setting up your main navigation menu and choosing a proper homepage. Let's break it down step by step. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to create or edit the navigation menu for your site. And as you might remember, when we looked at the heading section in the customizer, this website I'm currently working on actually has a navigation menu that's already been set up as part of the template. So I'm going to be editing that, but I'm going to show you how you can create one if you're doing this from scratch as well. So all you need to do is come over to Appearance here and then click on Menus. That's going to bring you to the menu part of the dashboard. And this is where you're going to edit your menus for your site. So as you can see right now, I have a menu that is called Header, and this is the main menu for the site. But I can easily create a new menu by clicking on the Create a New Menu link. So then the next thing to do right here is to add your menu name. And then you can choose your display location. So the primary menu location is the one that is currently used across the site in the header and things like that. It will show you where that menu is currently used here in the brackets. So I'm just going to click on primary menu and then I'm going to click on create menu. So that menu has been created, but we don't actually have any items in the menu at the moment. The way we add items to a menu or any pages, posts, custom links, categories, things like that is in the add menu items section right here. So you'll see there are a few different tabs right here. There's most recent, view all, or search. So if you've got a lot of pages, posts, whatever on your site, you want to use the search function to find them really easily. But if you've got a limited amount of pages like I do right now, then I haven't got very many to choose from. So I'll just choose the ones I'm going to add to the menu. So for me, I'm going to choose work, testimonials, and a contact. And as you can see, I've got 2 contacts because I added a new page, but we'll ignore that. And I'll just select these by checking the boxes next to them and then click the Add to Menu button. That's going to add those pages to this part over here so we can see what they look like in the menu. Now, although this menu is in a vertical order right here, most menus will be in horizontal order, but the first item right here is the first one you'll see in your horizontal order as well. So if you want to reorder the menu items at all you need to do is click, drag, and drop them into place. So I'm going to move the contact one down here. And if you see, if I click on it and drag it to the side, that then makes the contact a sub menu item of this testimonials item. So what that means is when the visitor actually hovers their mouse over testimonials, they'll see a little drop down to see the contact menu below that, or anything you drop below that. So as long as it's indented here, it'll be a sub item. I'm going to bring it back over to the left and make it a top level menu item. And then if you want to edit any of these as well, you can click the little drop down here and you can change the navigation label, the order as well. You can do that instead of dragging and dropping. And then if you want to remove an item from the menu, you click the remove link right there, and then that's going to remove that item from the menu. So I'll just put work back. So just click on that, add to menu, and then drag it back up here. And like I said, you could do the same for posts if you've got posts or custom links and categories as well, but we won't get into that. So we've added the pages we want to our menu. The next thing to do is to click Save Menu to save those items. And now if we go back to the site, so we'll just go to the front end of the site, we'll be able to see that menu here on the page. And it's really that easy to create navigation menus on your site, and you can create many different ones. So you can create a header menu, and if you scroll down here, you remember that I did a footer section as well, and you can have a completely different footer menu down here and change that in the customizer. You can change the hamburger menu for your mobile device as well. We've got plenty of videos on that on the channel that cover those things. So I'll link to those in the description below. So here's something WordPress does by default that throws a lot of beginners off. When you first install it, your homepage is set up like a blog, a rolling list of your latest posts. But if you're building a business site, portfolio, or anything that's not a blog first site, that layout probably isn't what you want. Instead, what you want is a static homepage, one that stays fixed and shows a custom layout you've built.
Now, if you created a website with a hosting provider, or you've got a brand new website and you're seeing blog items where the home page should be, you need to change this setting. So all you need to do is come over to settings over here and then click on reading. And you'll see that you've got the first item here is your home page display settings. Now, websites that see blog posts as their home page have got this setting checked to your latest posts. So you'll just see all your blog posts on that page. But to change it to display a page that you've created on your site, you just have to click on show a static page. And then what you can do from there is click the little drop down here next to the home page and select any of the pages that you've created on your site. So we've got home selected, but we could change it to any other page. Once you've selected that, then you can come down here and click on Save Changes. And now you'll have any of the pages that you've set up as your main home page on your site instead of a blog post page.
Your site's live, your home page is set. Now let's talk about scaling up. Whether you want to add a service page, a team section, or a blog, the goal is to keep your design consistent and your workflow simple. Now let's say you wanted to create articles and content for your site through a blog. You can still do that. You just need to create a page for blog posts to be displayed on. And this is how you can do that.
Okay, so in the previous step, I showed you how to set a static page as your home page if you only see blog posts as your home page and you want a page that you've designed as your front page. But if you want to write articles and blog posts on your site, you'll need a place for them to be displayed. And to do that, all you need to do really is come over to pages right here, click on that, and then click on add page. And we're going to add a blog page to our site. So all I'm going to type in here in the page title is blog. And then I'm going to leave it completely blank and just click publish and then publish again. So that blank blog page is published on the site. Okay, so you're probably thinking, Ryan, I actually want content on that page. Well, we're going to do that in the WordPress settings. So we're going to go back to our WordPress dashboard. We're going to come down to settings and then back to the reading setting. And then below the home page section right here, which we set in the step earlier, there is a post page drop down as well. Now, if you click on that drop down, you can now select the blog page that you've just created, the completely blank page, as your blog post page. Then if you click on Save Changes, and then just to round all this up, if we go back to Appearance and Menus, and then on our main menu here, click on View All, and then select the blog page and add it to menu. And I'll bring that up to that position right there, and then click on Save Menu. So now if I visit the front end of the site, we'll see that we've got work, we've got blog, testimonials, and contact. I'll click on the blog post page, and we're now displaying the demo blog post that's on the site. So that's a really easy way to get a blog page on your website and have all the posts be displayed in one place, and people can access it easily from your menu. And you're probably thinking, hey, Ryan, okay, so we've got the blog post page, but what if I want to add blog posts to this page? How do I do that? Well, if we go back to the dashboard and we come down to posts here and click on that, we now get a list of all the posts on our site. And just like pages, if we click on add post right here, we get the block editor for our WordPress posts. This is exactly like building and designing a page on your WordPress site. They work in a very similar way. So you add a title, you add the content to your blog post, and then you click publish, and that will be published to your blog post page so people can view it. And you can add all the types of things that you would find here. So headings, paragraphs, images, things to make your blog post really, really interesting.
Now that your site is coming together, it's time to talk plugins. Plugins are like apps for your WordPress site. They add features like SEO tools, contact forms, or secure site backups. And I know it's tempting to install every cool tool you come across. But here's the truth, less is more. Too many plugins can slow down your site, cause conflicts, or even make it easier to get hacked. So we're keeping it lean with just the essentials. Here are the only plugins you really need to get started. All-in-one SEO helps you optimize your pages so they show up on Google. WPForms Lite, a simple drag and drop contact form. And Duplicator, this one's a must if you want to back up your site, and I totally recommend you do. It lets you package up your entire site into a file that can be downloaded or stored safely in somewhere like Google Drive or Dropbox.
Okay, so let's talk plugins. First, how do we see the plugins that are currently installed on our WordPress site? Well, it's super easy to do. All we need to do in the WordPress dashboard is come over here to plugins and click on that. And now you're going to see all the plugins in a list. We can see that we've got, in this example, the Spectra, Starter Templates, and Shore Forms plugins on the site, as they came with both Astra and the Starter Template. Now I will get on and show you how to install a plugin, but first, what if you've got plugins on your site that you don't actually want? How do you delete those plugins from the site? Well, all you need to do is hover over the plugin or go to the plugin and then click on the deactivate link and then the delete link. If you've got multiple plugins like I have here that I don't want on the site, what you can do is check the boxes next to them, then come up to the bulk actions drop down here, click on that, and then click on deactivate and then apply. That's now deactivated those plugins, and then you can do the same process to delete them. So check the boxes, click on the drop down, click on delete, and then click the apply button. You'll then get a message to say, are you sure you want to delete these? And they're going to remove the data. You just click OK, and then those are removed from your site completely. Now, how do we install a plugin? Well, also a very easy process and similar to how you install a theme. So if you remember that from a bit earlier in the video, it's going to be very similar to doing that. All you need to do is either click on add plugin here or add plugin button up here. Click on that. Then that'll bring you to the WordPress plugin directory. And this is very much like the theme repository or directory that we saw earlier, but there are tens of thousands of plugins for WordPress available from this plugin directory completely for free. And like I said earlier in the video, plugins are basically apps for your WordPress site. They expand the features and functionality of WordPress. Now, the plugin that we're going to install on this site is going to be another form plugin, and it happens to be the best WordPress form plugin that you can get. It's called WPForms, and to find it, all you need to do is click in the search bar here and type in WPForms. And just like themes, it'll pop up and we can see it right here. Just click on the install now button to install it on the site. And then once that's finished installing, click on the activate button to activate it on the site. Okay, so that's how you install a plugin on your site. And I'm going to take this a step further because I imagine that you want your visitors to be able to contact you in some way, whether that's inquire about a service or a product that you offer, or give you some feedback, or just say, hey. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly create and add a contact form to this site using WPForms, and it is lightning fast. So first thing we're going to do is click on the create your first form button here, and that's brought us into the form settings. The first thing we need to do is just give our form a name. I'm just going to call it contact form. And then the next thing we can do is select a template. So we don't have to build a contact form or a form from scratch, because WPForms actually has over 2,000 templates available. So if you can think of the form that you want, there's a high probability that WPForms already has a template for it. So then you can click in the search bar here or use any of these filters to find the template you want. If you can't find the template you want, WPForms also has an ace up its sleeve as well, where you can generate a whole form with AI. And it is a fantastic tool. If you've got a very specific need, all you need to do is give it a prompt and it will create the form for you in a flash. Now, we're going to keep it super simple in this example, and I'm going to be using the simple contact form template right here. And you may have noticed if I hover over it, it gives you two options. it gives you the option to view a demo or use a template. So I'm going to click on use template, and now we're in the form editor in WPForms. And I'm going to give you a little crash course on this. So basically over here on the left are the different areas for setting up the form. So we were in the setup section. This is the fields section. There is settings and marketing and payments as well that you can go into. Next to that, there is a panel here for adding fields to contact form. And what is a field? Well, basically, if I hover over the live preview of this contact form, very much like how the block editor works, you can see when I hover over certain sections of the form, it's highlighted in blocks. Well, these are called fields. And if you click on them, you'll then see the settings here in this panel. And this is where you can change all the things like the label, which is the name there, and the format in which you want, in this case, the person's name. You can choose in the drop down simple, first, last, first, middle, last. Also at the bottom here, there's a handy little switch to make certain fields required. So someone will have to fill out those fields before they can submit the form. Now, all these fields are also drag and drop as well. So you can drag them and drop them and reorder them. You can also go to the add fields tab here and add more fields. So you get a lot of fields included in the free version or the Lite version of WPForms. If you see any of the grayed out ones or these fancy fields here, they're available in the pro version. So you just upgrade to get those if you need them. But like I said, you get a load of really fantastic options with WPForms Lite, especially ones around payment. You don't get that in many other form plugins. So it's really fantastic to see. Now, once you've got your contact form or your form how you want, you can also then head into things like settings and set them up that way. But I'm just going to go straight through and use this contact form because I want to show you how to get it on your site as well. So once you're happy with the form, just click on save up here and then exit the form editor. And now we've exited the form editor, we've now come into the WPForms forms overview. And this is where you're going to see all your contact forms for your site. So anything that you create with WPForms will be seen here and they will be in a list. We're currently seeing the one that I've just created, the contact form I've just created. And if I hover over that, this is how you can edit it as well. And you can see the entries that have been made for that contact form. Now we're running a bit ahead of ourselves right now because we haven't actually got it on the site. So we're going to do that in the next step. So the quickest and easiest way to do this is to go to the page or the post you want to add the contact form to or the form to. And I'm just going to head to pages here, click on that, and then come down to this contact page. I'm going to click edit on that to open up the block editor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to find a space to add the contact form. So below this send a message text right here, I'd add a contact form right there. So I'm just going to click the block inserter, click on the search bar and type in WPForms. And there it is right there. I'm just going to grab it, drag it, and drop it into place. And once the WPForms block is in place, the next step is to click on the little drop down here and select the form that you've created. So in my example, the contact form. And now you can see the contact form on the page. And just like any other block, you will get some settings here to change the appearance or how the block is set up for this page. But I'm going to go ahead and save the page and make that change live on the site. So now visitors can visit the site and then send a message and we'll be able to receive that through the dashboard.
And there you have it. Your WordPress website is up and running. Here's what you've done. Set up hosting and your domain, installed and customized a clean, modern theme, built pages using simple visual blocks, created a clear navigation system, and added only essential plugins to keep your site fast and secure. Take a second to appreciate that. You've gone from a blank screen to a fully functional website in less than an hour. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm here to help. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and hit subscribe for more content like this. I'm Ryan, this is WP Beginner, and I'll see you in the next video.